What other kinds of things did you do? You know, obviously, you're very busy when you're on the farm and you're working. There's not a lot of extra free time, but what sorts of things did you do when you were younger? Square dancing, you mentioned, and anything
Yeah.
else that comes to mind?
Well, 59, I joined Ellesmere's Fire Department and came really involved in that.
Okay.
So between the farm and the fire department, that took up pretty much my time.
What sorts of, I mean, were you a commissioner? Did get involved in the administration, or were you just a kind of on the ground firefighter? And
No, well, in 1964, I was elected president of the organization. And then I was there a couple of years and I became a lieutenant and went up the ranks to captain and assistant chief, and in 1975 to 83 I was fire chief in Ellesmere's Fire District.
wow.
Then I retired as a life member of the fire department. I figured I'd put my time in.
How many years do you know? I mean,
Oh, that was 35
35
years
years.
later.
Yeah, yeah. Any in that time, any fires that stick out, or any events that stick out in your memory at all, that from
Oh,
your work
yeah,
at the
we
fire
had some
department?
pretty good fires. There was one over on the Dunn property, the barns burnt down, and Norman Side Country Club.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
That's when the original Norman Side Country Club
The
burned?
original one, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
When would that have, that was in the 1950s, I'm thinking,
Oh,
probably, right?
yeah, let's see. It had to be in the early 60s, I
Yeah.
would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
28
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And that was just something that you're gonna do to just augment the farm income that you had?
Yeah,
Um,
give me a little retirement out of it. so.
Sure. When did that start?
That started in September of 1973. It was right after we closed the dairy in June, and I drove for 28 years there.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did extra with my slides back in those days. I had a slide program that we put together for kindergarten orientation.
Mhm.
So I had taken those pictures and end up, I and another driver being the ones that taught the kindergartners that were coming in how to properly ride a school bus.
That had to be interesting.
It was a lot of fun also,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Good memories, yeah.
Uh-huh. A lot of scared kids getting on the bus for the first time, I'm
Oh,
sure,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I have a couple come in as customers and
Uh-huh.
they ask Ryan, is your grandfather around? And they tell me how they rode my school bus when they were little kids.
Uh-huh.
So they have memories also.
Uh-huh. And 28 years is a long time to do that. Any interesting memories that stick out? Other than that, I think that's interesting that you did the orientation, but
Yeah. No, it's just a pleasure to have the little kids,
yeah. And that was a morning and obviously a morning and an afternoon route.
It was, yeah.
So you'd be busy from what, like 6 a.m. to 8, and then again from 3 to 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And that allowed you to still do some work on the farm.
It did, yes, yeah.
So what were you doing on the farm at that point? If the, you know,
No, then I was just strictly vegetable raising.
okay. The sweet corn and other things as well, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
squashes and gourds and sunflowers and
Mhm.
a little
Whatever-
bit of everything.
Yeah.
Okra, nobody raises okra around. I got the sales and Manans market on okra.
Uh-huh.
They wait for me to come with okra. I don't have to worry about getting rid of it. I know it's gone
That's great.
when I pick it. So,
I spend a lot of time in cemeteries, and I see that you are a caretaker of St. Matthew's. in
Oh,
Vermont. So
yeah,
maybe
I
talk about that a
kind
little
of
bit.
forgot that, yes.
Uh-huh.
I was the caretaker there, I don't know how many years, yeah. Quite a few. mowed, dug graves, and
Uh-huh. Now, St. Matthews is where?
across from the number 2 Glenmont Fire Station
Okay.
It's kind of up on the hill.
on Glenmont Road.
It's kind of up on the hill there.
On the
Oh,
hill, yeah.
By the Glenmont Abbey.
Still active on the farm at all? Do
Yeah.
you-
Oh, yeah. I got some animals there. I have a donkey and llama and pony and goats and chickens and
Mhm.
ducks and turkeys and guinea hens, and so I gotta get out and take care of them twice a day,
Okay.
and that's what keeps me moving, because
If you have a peacock,
some days you
too.
don't feel like going, you know, you gotta anyway, so
Yeah,
get
good.
you moving.
Because they need you. How did this menagerie come about? It's just, it's a
Well,
interesting group of animals.
I always, back when I was a kid, there used to be peacocks on Delaware Avenue. We used to go to church at Whitehall Road at St. Matthew there. And I see those peacocks as a kid, and I really liked them. So that was one of the first things I had extra that I bought for myself. I don't have any right now, but
Uh-huh.
I've had them for a number of years. And I just added the different things on, and somebody give me a rabbit, we take a rabbit. Yeah, the kids come there, and they like the animals, and they like feeding the animals.
Mhm.
So I just kept growing in that area and give them something different to look at. And
Okay.
hopefully it's a little education for them to learn that there is different birds and animals.
Yeah. And again, something that Tim mentioned earlier, that you pretty much built the entire one of the homes on Kenwood as well. Can you talk about that, when that took place? One of those the family homes.
Yeah, that was I don't know what area was that, Deb? I don't. It was the old farmhouse where the hired man had lived, and
Uh-huh.
we opened up the back of it and put an addition on. We took the hand-hewed beams and used it for a mantel on the fireplace, and the
Mhm.
stone wall that was taken down was the fireplace hearth, and put a big family room on the back and a couple good-sized bedrooms upstairs. Actually doubled the size of the house.
And I'm always fascinated by people that can. Where did you learn how to do that, or is that just something that kind of? You
Well, a friend of mine, he was pretty much the operator of
Okay.
it, and I was the assistant.
You were the
so,
helper. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Ray Ostroud, I don't know, he had lived in town for a number of years, and he owned different properties there on the corner of Rockefeller and Kenwood Avenue there. Those 3 houses up from Rockefeller were his, and he had some properties in the city of Albany where I'd help him fix them up and paint them up and get them ready to rent out. Things.
Okay. So you just learn by doing, pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned, obviously, your long involvement with the Ellesmere Fire Department. Any other organizations that you were involved with when you were growing?
Not really, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah. It sounds like you had a pretty busy time
Oh, yeah.
with everything else going on in your life.
Pretty full.
Yeah. How you think the town of Bethlehem has changed since you were a youngster out there on
Oh, my
Glensmere
goodness.
Farm?
It's really grown up so much that I know my folks wouldn't recognize the town anymore, but
Mhm.
not too much open land left around
Yeah.
as far as the town's concerned.
Sure.
Kind of hate to see it, but
Yeah.
part of life, I guess.
When you were a child, it was really that area, especially the area where you grew up, was a farming community. Really,
It was,
It wasn't a suburban area, it was a farming community.
There was.
And
for
there's not a
sure,
lot of
yeah.
that left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan, Debbie's son there, Ryan, is operating a farm store. He wants to buy my place, and we got to work on that. He wants to keep it open, so maybe in the next 50 years it'll still look like Lower Kenwood Avenue, you know.
Yeah, you got a generation that's interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
All right, Debbie's previously writing stuff. What questions do we have? I think you'd probably be the best person to ask these.
It's just a couple of things that took place on the farm when I was growing up was that my grandfather had an enormous flock of chickens, which sorry, Dad, the chickens on the farm and the
Oh.
turkeys.
Oh, we raise chickens and turkeys, of course, with the milk routes and that. We had our own eggs, and my father being kind of a meat cutting background, he raised turkeys and had turkeys for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Butchered hogs and
Yeah, the smokehouse.
got a smokehouse there where he smoked his own bacon and hams and
Which is
Wow.
still sitting there, right?
Yeah,
So-
that's coming down too.
the good old fashioned eating.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So the chickens and the turkeys, that was just an addition to the dairy farm as well. You're just trying to diversify a little bit almost, really, right?
Yeah, little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I had only 100 to 150 turkeys
Is that
and
all?
400 or 500 hens for laying
Uh-huh.
eggs and stuff.
And you said obviously your father had a background in butchering, but would he do all of that, the chickens and the turkeys, and when Thanksgiving time came? That was a big operation, I'm sure everyone got involved with.
He did all
It's
all
a
the-
family affair.
I was gonna say, I'm sure he probably didn't do it, everybody else was involved, I'm thinking, probably
Well,
an
we did
assembly
the-
line, right?
we did the butchering and the picking, and
Yeah,
he did the viscerating and dressing them out.
okay.
How often did you have to change out that flock of layers, that 400 or 500 birds?
Well, he get chicks every year, and of course a laying hen only produces well for a couple of years, so every couple of years they'd be pretty much complete turnaround.
All right. Anything else you wanted to talk about, or that we didn't cover?
I can only think of a couple of the jobs that he held.
Okay,
He took on snow plowing
okay.
as one of his side jobs.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah,
he
I
had some
did.
pretty massive snow
I
throwers.
did
to deal
snow
with.
plowing. I originally started with a tractor and a snow blade, and in December of 1963 I bought a Scout and a snowplow.
Mhm.
I paid $2,000 for the Scout and $700 for the four-way snowplow.
Mm.
I was plowing driveways, single driveways for $4 and double drives for $5.
Now, would you get like a route? People would hire you, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
for the winter,
Yeah,
and
I
you would
had a-
just.
Yeah, I had a kind of a contract that I averaged 7 snowfalls
Uh-huh.
at the $5 rate or the $4 rate,
Okay.
and I had quite a few like that. And we get a big snowstorm, I'd almost a day and a half to get through them all, you know.
Yeah.
Then
And
I
that-
had to go home and process milk. I don't know how I did it.
Yeah. How did you do that? Because you
I-
must have had some cows waiting for you after some of those storms.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.